no one knows. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. We're going down. Do you dare to follow me down? Head into the unknown.
Howdy. Hi, everyone. Melissa, good to see you. Are you muted? Am I muted? What's going on? Okay, okay. I'll start my hellos then. Um, hey, Kelly and Sharon Parker. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm a dinosaur. Weird. Good to see you. Hey, look. American Justice is in the house. Helicopter Grandma. Hey. Who else do we have? Matt is Catter. Hey, Betty Knight. Hi, Blue Jay. Kimber. Hey, Mary. Her Marie. Sorry. Hey, Heather Marie. I was reading one and then looked at the other and I was like, blah, blah, blah. I wonder why the RCMP are letting out info. I hope it means they are close to arresting someone. So these, Melissa's gone. So so what's coming out is not new per se. They're the same documents, just additional redactions have been lifted. So I know that they had their court hearing last week, and this is the result of that court hearing. Just more information. The documents themselves are not available yet, but we did get the index from Daphne's case files, so that was good of her to share that. And from my understanding, the documents will be made public tomorrow. Media outlets had them today, or probably before today, but they had their news articles ready to go today. We're going to go through some of the news articles. We're also going to look at that index and we're going to compare them to the court documents that Melissa had. So she's back. So hey there. Hey, Wolfie. And Lynn. Good to see ya. Hi, Amy and Bonnie, Carol, Cindy. You're welcome. Um, who else? Who else? Cindy B, good to see ya. And hey, Ben, I heard you were taking a break. I saw your comment the other day. You're on vacation and then you're taking a break from YouTube. I don't blame you, but thanks for stopping in today. Hi, Bonnie. And who else? Just the facts, ma'am. Always a pleasure. Those are my hellos. I'm all caught up. And let's try it again. How are you doing, Melissa?
I'm good. Forgot I had you on the other screen, so I was like, where is that echo coming from? I had to close everything out and start over.
I see. I see. Okay. Monday is my first day. Okay, good. So we're gonna we're gonna wing this a little bit. So Melissa she's gonna have full control over the document and the index. Um, I know that it's going to be probably a little bit hard for people to read or see. We'll both post it on our community pages when we're done here. And then when we're done going through all that, we'll look at some articles that came out today and maybe a couple of the news stories, the videos, and we're gonna we're gonna get through it. We're gonna sort it out. And here's another one. Hey, CJ. And Ron Mexico. Thanks for coming, Ron. Older videos, and I have so many questions. Interesting. Sailor made it. Hey, Sailor. Okay, so do I have to pull this stuff up? I think I do. Yes,
And it
I do.
might be easier if we are actually off screen because that makes that full screen and people might be able to read it better. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hey, Cheryl. So what I'm going to do is, like, obviously we'll talk about this stuff, but um if you have questions, put them in the chat, and I am going to watch chat and I'll star the questions so we can go back to them afterwards. But in the intro, because I think there's not like a ton of stuff for us to go through, but I think there's a ton of stuff for us to talk about. So instead of interrupting to answer questions, we will come back to questions after we're done, okay? And yes, Sunny is okay, Tia. She is working her butt off at her job. I think, if I'm not mistaken, she's planning on doing a live stream like Saturday, maybe Sunday. So, and hey, Johnny and Lucy, Sea Legal, always a pleasure. So, with that said, I'm going to take us off stage and hand the mic over to Melissa for a little bit. We'll just explain, I guess, what this stuff is. Go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, so we were sent the index, which you see right here where my mouse is. That's the index. This over here is the court documents that it relates to. If you notice right here where it says paragraph and it's got the numbers and letters that corresponds with these letters. So the first unredaction that was done was 18 CV or C4. So this is section 18. Here's section C. Here's section 4. So we already knew it said Janie and Malaya. Janie said Malaya and Daniel are having financial difficulties, which corresponds with this. So this dark bold lettering is what was unredacted right here where it says personal information. And that says, Janie said she is of the opinion that Malaya's side of the family had something to do with it because they did not take part in the search and were not letting them see the baby. So that's this section right here that I hope you guys can see my mouse anyway. The next section was 19. So if we go, you guys might not be able to see it, but it says 19 here. Section C, third one. She had, and we already knew, some of us that said blood work, but that is the only part that was unredacted was the word blood work here and blood work here. So that says she had blood work in New Glasgow in the afternoon on Thursday. She and Daniel went with all the kids. They drove her 2017 white Nissan Pathfinder. They went to the big stop for gas. She thought they might have gotten the kids bagels from Tim Hortons. Daniel stayed in the car with the kids when she got blood work. Then they went to Starbucks drive-thru before going home. So we already knew it said blood work. So that was, for me, not that much of an unredaction because we kind of already knew that. So then 19G. Okay, so we're still in 19. Here's G. So G3. Right here where it says personal information, where my mouse is, was unredacted. And all that says is Daniel worked every Monday at the group Savi in Westville, the hardwood sawmill. So some of us already knew where Daniel worked, but they just unredacted the actual name. So H is here where it says personal information down here. It says they discussed what happened earlier in the day. Malaya said she went to the police command post to see what was happening firsthand. And then it was all redacted. So the unredacted portion is started feeling sick, and then they left personal info redacted still and needed medical attention, which I'm assuming is when she was in the ambulance. So section 20, here's 20. That's all A. So 20B, 4, 1. So it corresponds with this right here. And it says they left home at 12:10 and drove for 39 minutes. Then from 12:49 to 1:27, Malaya was shown at a missing visit, which she thought was her, and then it was redacted. And the unredacted portion of that says blood work appointment. So we kind of already knew that. So section 20, we're still in E1 right here. It says, hold on a minute. Oh, wait, 20C, sorry. So C, sorry about that, guys. I was wrong. I missed one. So it says right here in C5, it says they stopped at, and it was redacted in Truro, then went to her grandmother's at 9:19 p.m. to drop off her bank card. So this unredacted portion here is Scotia Bank. So it says they stopped at Scotia Bank in Truro, which is kind of a weird unredaction, but sure. And then E1, it said she said they moved to the trailer on Daniel's mother's property, and then everything was redacted. And so this right here, the smaller V1 personal information, actually says in the unredacted portion, after she had a falling out with her grandmother around August of 2023. So the whole thing says she said they moved to the trailer on Daniel's mother's property after she had a falling out with her grandmother around August of 2023.
Really quickly, just up on number 1, D1, Lily had a LOL doll blanket that she sometimes dragged around with her. It was her blanket she used for sleeping before she got an actual bed set. And then redacted, and she didn't want it anymore, so Daniel used it to stop the draft. That's not redacted, or sorry, that redaction's not lifted. So that to me is interesting. What is that? Do you know what I mean? It's interesting that
Yeah,
that redaction wasn't lifted.
yeah, and I'm trying to think what it could say.
Yeah, I think uh I would I don't know. That's an odd one. Sorry to interrupt, but we can come back to it after. That's interesting. It's like I said, it's not so much about for me it's obviously important what we're learning, but also what's not lifted is just as interesting. I don't know. Please continue. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
That sounded sarcastic, but I'll take it. But yeah, I agree. That's weird that that part wasn't unredacted. And if you sit there and try to think what it could say, I can't come up with anything.
Yeah, and that wasn't sarcastic, Melissa. I would be all over the place. I would be a complete shit show, so I appreciate you. You're so organized.
Well, I figured if we put them up side by side, the index of what was unredacted versus the actual court document that it was on, it might be a little easier for people to follow along. So let's see what's next. 20E. Okay, so we're still in 20. Here's E. So let's go to 5. So it's this portion right here. 3 and 4 are still redacted. So this entire section 5, it says When asked if Daniel was physical, Malaya said he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which sometimes sometimes be physical in her. I totally screwed that up. So again, let me try that again. When asked if Daniel was physical, you guys can see that other well, you guys can't see it. Intrusive. Malaya said he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. And something about that, when I seen that earlier, I had sent Charmaine a message, and I said, in the United States, if you take somebody's phone away from them, right? That is actually a criminal act. It's obstruction of telephone services.
Right, I've got that. Should we hit it later or do you want to hit it now? The Canadian law.
Well, since we're talking about it, it might be good just to show that now.
Okay. It's fucking it won't ugh, I just swore. I apologize, guys. Um let me open it so I can zoom it because it's super small, like the print. And then I will share. Uh-oh. I think okay. Wait a sec. This is fun. Okay. No, that's not it. That's what the heck? One sec. One sec, one sec. I'll get it. I'll get it. Okay, here we go. Hey, here we go. So,
So, do you want to read that?
sure, well, in Canada, obstructing telephone service can fall under various criminal code sections, primarily involving illegal interception of private communications, or harassing indecent communications with penalties including imprisonment and fines. But the specific law depends on how service was obstructed, like malicious eavesdropping or preventing calls. While there isn't one single law titled obstructing telephone service, acts like cutting lines, jamming signals, or interfering with calls, grabbing the phone during a 911, can lead to charges under these sections, with telecom providers also regulated by the CRTC for blocking legitimate calls. Interception, that's not it. Harassing, well, I mean, I don't know, physically blocking calls, grabbing a phone when someone tries to call 911, malicious interception, eavesdropping on a call for personal gain or maliciously Hmm. interfering with infrastructure, damaging phone lines, equipment, blah, blah, blah. So I think that although there isn't a single obstructing telephone service statute, there are charges to be had if that, for that. I think that would fall under domestic violence. And there is something about, oh, I'd have to look it up. I can't remember, but there is definitely something about uh, preventing someone from calling for help. That I can't remember what the law is called, but there is something around that.
And
So
it
that
could
that
be
was
said, sure, that if she was calling her mother for help, if she was calling Cindy for help and he prevented that call, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. But yeah, continue. Thank you.
Okay, so the next section we have is 21D. So that's on the next page. 4. So that would be right here. It says there's only one unredaction in this. It's the word blood work. So it actually is will read, Daniel later said Malaya had to get blood work on Thursday between 12:40 and 1:40. So he thought they must have done that before they went to Truro. So again, the only unredacted version of that or word for that was blood work. 21E is right here. And it says Daniel could not remember if they went to town on Wednesday or not. He said he had a conversation with someone who was helping his with that makes no sense. So the unredacted part is custody papers for his other children, personal information, which I'm assuming would be their names, which are Rain and Arlo, if I remember correctly. So it says Daniel could not remember if they went to town on Wednesday or not. He said he had a conversation with someone who was helping him with the custody papers for his other children. Again, I think it will probably say the kids' names, but he thought that was on Tuesday. So then you have too far. So 21F. So we're still in section 21 here. F 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So it is this entire upper section right here where it says personal information. And that is to read. Daniel said they were recently fighting about money, and then there will still be some redaction of personal information. So in the investigator's notes here, the unredaction is blood work appointment. So it says, I believe Daniel was mistaken when he said they went to Truro on Thursday. Based on Malaya's statements in her Google timeline, they went to Truro on Wednesday, and she had the blood work on Thursday. So then you have section 22A. So it's this unredacted portion here, and the word is Wentworth. So it says Daniel said when the kids were missing, Malaya's mother showed up extremely quickly, even though she was over an hour away in Wentworth. So that was that wording. So section 22F. Let me find it here. Okay, so it's this section here. And again, the word is blood work. So it says they talked about what happened on Wednesday and Thursday. Daniel initially had the days mixed up, but then confirmed through online banking on his phone that they spent Wednesday in Truro with Malaya's grandmother. And went to run errands, including Malaya's blood work on Thursday. So like I said, we already knew that she had blood work. So a lot of these single word things are blood work. Section 22. Okay, so I'm in section 22. G2, which is right here. It says they all went to Malaya's blood work appointment and got there around 12:50 p.m. Malaya went to get blood work, and he stayed in the car with the kids. So that's those two unredactions there. One saying blood work appointment, and the other one just saying blood work. So this whole section here at the bottom has been unredacted. Hopefully you guys can see this. It says they talked about his relationship with Malaya. He said the following, and then everything was redacted. So the unredacted portion, I'll read the whole thing, but the unredacted portion is everything after that sentence. They talked about his relationship with Malaya. He said the following. Section 1, he said they had been together for about 3 years and moved to it moved pretty quickly. He moved into Malaya's grandmother's house with her after about 2 weeks. They met on Facebook dating. So 22H2 says he said their relationship is good. They have ups and downs like any other couple, and then there's still going to be a redaction of personal information. 22H3 is still going to be redacted where it says personal information. 22H4 says he said they would yell at each other when they were fighting, but there was no physical in their relationship. You guys can see the word there. I'm not going to say it because I don't want Charmaine's channel blocked. So section 23. Section 23D, it says Constable Askew requested a follow-up with Cody by, I don't know how to say that word, Harbor RCMP. Muscadabi, is that how it's pronounced?
Muscadabbit.
Muscadabbit, okay. So Muscadabbit Harbor. So that's right here. Section 24A, it says Constable Legay met with Cody at his residence at approximately 2:50 in Muscadabbit Harbor. Section 26, which is this one, and then also this one. So 26A says Cody said he used to be in a relationship with Malaya and they had Jack and Lily together. He had not seen them in a couple years, but paid child support. The unredacted version of that is until he lost his job about 9 months ago. Some of us already knew that information. Some of you may not. 26C says he, meaning Cody, sometimes drives a blue Silverado half-ton with a turquoise hood. So that is this right here. It's just the information about his car. So then it goes to 31. So that would be right here. The redacted portion is the Groupe Savoy mill, which is the the sawmill that Daniel worked at. It says Edmund Dixon said he worked with Daniel at the Groupe Savoy mill. He saw him in the Dollarama parking lot between 1:30 and 12:30 a.m. on May 1st, 2025. Section 34B. So it's this right here. And again, that is just the name of the sawmill. Let's see here. 34B. Sorry, guys, lost my place. It says Lays used to work with Daniel at the Groupe Savoy and found him to be a hard worker who was reliable. Yeah, bullshit. Sorry. So section 26, or sorry, 66. So this does not add up with what this says. It says paragraph 66. So that would be this here. And it just says personal information, so that part would still be redacted. This doesn't add up with it, though, with what this says. So somebody shall produce the documents and or data listed above to Corporal Curl of the RCMP Northeast Nova Major Crime Unit at 283 Pictou Road, Bible Hill, Nova Scotia, with a cell phone number or any other peace officer acting on their behalf as soon as possible, reasonably possible, but in any event, no later than 14 days from the date of this order. So that doesn't match up with paragraph 66 because that's talking about their cell phones. So I don't know, Sure. What do you make of that? Am I looking at the wrong place?
Mm, so move the document, the index over a little bit back to the, I don't even, because what does the title of that section say? Redactions to be lifted. Okay, so the numbers to 2025 109 2020 that could possibly that's obviously in a different document.
Yeah,
When we first got the documents, they had these numbers.
so let me look at the documents real quick here and I will see if I have either one of those. But either
Okay,
way,
and
I
then
mean, it's not really important to pull up because it just says basically you need to turn over whatever.
okay, you go ahead and look. I'm going to go through some of the comments. So this is about the part that was the redaction that was not lifted. Could this be the other kid's name? Could be. It's a good call. It was dirty, maybe. Could be. Janie also provided a statement about that blanket that would lead one to think the LOL blanket was still in use. Possibly, yeah. Could be a detail about the blanket only people that physically saw it may know. Could be. All very good, ideas. Maybe it says that it was torn. That's kind of what I thought, but I don't know. Could be the LOL blanket be from Cody? Absolutely, possibly. There are definitely leaks because I already heard all of this somewhere before. Holding her down, taking her phone. I feel like maybe DT show. So we first heard that from Malaya herself. She had a conversation over Messenger with Sunny, and she basically started that conversation saying Daniel's never abusive, never physical, and then towards the end of the conversation before Malaya cut it off said, one time, like he would hold me down and take my phone. He wouldn't let me call my mom. And then she also said he would pick on Jack and sometimes Lily. And then shortly after she said that to Sunny, she said she wouldn't be answering any more questions. So it was, and then I do believe that Daniel acknowledged that he held her down one time and took her phone. He did acknowledge that on that interview with DT. His ex has custody. Christy, yes, has custody of his two children. So this would be about holding her down. Um, yeah, so the reason that we pulled that Canadian kind of statute up was to show you guys that there is no law that says you can, there's no law against stopping somebody from calling their mother. But what is reasonably assumed to be a situation that sounds to me like a physical situation that would probably be, it would fall under domestic violence. And domestic violence is, it's pretty broad now. You could, there's emotional, financial, there's all kinds of abuse that I mean, if you accuse somebody of that kind of abuse, it's still legitimate, right? So an actual physically holding her down, I think that would fall under that instead of any kind of obstruction of communication statute. Mm, from calling her mom to leave, that wasn't a thing. It wasn't call her mom to leave. Neither one of them ever. alluded to that. It could have been, but that would be speculation.
And I just want to address that because that's what I said a while ago. If he was calling, or if she was calling her mom to leave, that is just my thought on that. That's not fact.
Right. Like I said before, Sunny is just fine. She's working. She has the full-time job and she's off the weekend. She'll probably do a live over the weekend. Uh, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That seems rather quick. Just my opinion.
I agree.
Weird they unredacted the copper cell number. I mean, I think everybody has it anyway, but good catch. Unsure. I didn't catch that, Rena. Either way, it's not okay to do somebody right. It's just not. It's never okay. We don't know. We weren't there. Women also abuse men. This situation is all one-sided. I'm not making excuses, but men get abused as well. Absolutely, they can. They do. Like I said, the trial that we just wrapped up last week, that was domestic violence issue of a woman on a man. So it absolutely happens. And it's unfortunate that men feel like they can't speak up for whatever reason. I get it, but at the same time, it's really unfortunate. So you're absolutely right. We have no, and that's my whole point, right? We weren't there. We don't know what happened, but these documents are definitely giving us a little bit more insight to what the RCMP were told, right? That's the point and purpose of this. So you can go ahead and continue, and I will continue monitoring chat for questions. Go ahead.
Okay, so yes, it seems like this is phone numbers. Where's my mouse? So on 66, if I pull up 105, 110, or 111 court documents that I do have, but I'm not going to bother pulling it up for one section, where the only thing unredacted is a cell phone number. And the name would still be redacted. So in this court document, where is my daggum my mouse? There it is. Okay, so in the court document 113, which is right here beside us, essentially what is unredacted is cell phone numbers in section 3 here. That's just all cell phone numbers and text plus phone numbers that were used. And it says all account information associated to text plus number. Then it gives it the number between May 1st and May 2nd. Text message and call logs associated to text plus number. Again, between May 1st and May 2nd. Text message content associated to text plus phone number. And again, between May 1st and May 2nd. So I don't know if you guys want me to scroll down to, let me just type in the page number here. 68. Oops. Oh, well, let me just scroll down here, scroll way down. Sorry, guys. I'm trying here. I'm trying to make it where it's easy, onions. Okay, so paragraph 68, section C, Malaya relayed to that Patty checked her phone and Malaya's text plus number was, and then it gives the number 69A, again, text plus records from Malaya Brooks Murray associated to text plus phone number between May 1st and May 2nd will show any contact she had with members of her family regarding the disappearance of the children. Section 70 here says Text Plus Incorporated shall produce the documents and or data listed above to Corporal Curl or however of the RCMP Northeast Nova Major Crimes Unit at 283 Pictou Road, Bible Hill, Nova Scotia. Cell phone number was unredacted, or any other peace officer acting on her behalf as soon as reasonably possible, but in any event no later than 14 days from the date of this order. And that is, folks, the unredacted portions of the court documents that we have. Hopefully it was easy enough for you guys to follow along and keep track.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll get the documents tomorrow, and of course, if there's anything additional that doesn't line up to this index that we were supplied today, we'll definitely clear that up, and we're going to, like I said, we will post this index on our community pages once the live is over. But I wasn't expecting a whole lot more, honestly. So let me go through the start. They weren't questions, but there are definitely some things I want to address in here. I think you mentioned before that there was a time you believed what Durwood was selling. Let me clarify for you. There was a time where I thought that Durwood was being fed information by his sources that his sources knew was bullshit, but that Durwood honestly believed. Yes, there was a time that I thought that Durwood was an honest person trying his best to help. I truly did. Um, that has changed at this point. Where's Kent these days? On Facebook. Private groups on Facebook. Usually not too far away from Durwood. I'm from Pictou County, not too far from where Lilly and Jack. I'm really happy to have you here. Thanks for joining, Tina. And I wonder if you had to pay child support for those other two kids. So this is, I guess you can call it rumor, speculation, whatever. But what I've been told is that in his divorce, the house was sold and he paid his child support for a number of years. So yes, he is required to pay child support, but the story I was told is that his child support has been prepaid for a number of years after the sale of their marital home. And well, then, I don't know what that means, but OT happens. So I'm not so quick to judge unless I know both sides. I'm tired of people also saying you couldn't have been abused or you wouldn't understand. I do understand. Yeah, it's important to know both sides and also not to judge how any one person feels about something because you don't know what goes on in their own personal lives, right? Like everybody has their own unique experiences in life and something that triggers me could be so mundane to you and you don't get it, but that's mine. That's not yours to judge. So I agree with you completely. Kent seems to disappear lately. Disagree. He's just not on live streams. What made the RCMP get this information out there? So the news media has, well, the public has a right to know, and the news media has the power and the attorneys and the means to take them to court to get access to this information. So what we're seeing here is the fruits of news media applying to the court for access to information for the public. That's what we're seeing here. And it's all the same documents that we originally got back, I think, in, I want to say September. I think it was September, maybe October. Um, and then we got a second round, quote unquote round, but that was just some redactions that had been lifted. And then there was a third round of lifted redactions, and that's what we're expecting tomorrow. And that's what this index is based on. So you can thank the mainstream media. Have you completely eliminated as a theory, or do you think, or you, or you still think it is within the realm of possibility? No, of course not. I've never, I've always thought it was horseshit. Just Durwood's motive in in sharing the information. I was wrong on, and I've said from the get-go that I thought that Durwood's sources were pulling his leg and that he truly, truly believed what he was peddling. But like I said, that now has changed, but I've never once thought that that was even remotely possible. And finally, the redactions, the CBC Globe and Mail filed a court document to get yes, yeah, access to information. And like I said, they have the lawyers and the means to do that. And so I'm grateful and I'm thankful that they were able to do that. So has anything else come up in chat while I was babbling away, going through everything?
No, I don't think so. I posted my link in your chat trying to get to 500.
Yeah, absolutely. I I'm usually pretty good at it, but we want to try to help Melissa get to 500 subscribers. It's free to do. Jump over to her channel, and she's streaming right now on her channel as well. You can watch over there, watch here, whatever you like. But for sure, for sure, for sure, please subscribe over there. She's almost there. So um, I've been judged by people who don't know me at all and just believe her false stories. So I know how it is. It's hard to it's hard for a lot of people to imagine a situation where a girl could abuse a man, you know? So it's unfortunate that there's such a disconnect there, but to understand that it happens and to see it um, is something else. And I'll tell you, and to go through a complete court case and trial, looking at all the evidence and, you know, it's it happens and it's disturbing. It's never good no matter who's abusing who.
And it
Too bad they
happens a
didn't.
lot.
It does.
Men are almost, in my opinion, ashamed
Yep.
to report DV against them.
Mm-hmm. And it comes from, and I keep saying stuff like this, and I don't mean any offense, but I feel like it comes from um, like the boomer mentality of the mental illness is all in your head. You gotta, you know, put your big boy pants on and go to work, or boys don't cry, or, you know, men don't share their feelings, or, you know, that kind of attitude that's just been kind of bred into us. And I think only now, even as far as Gen X goes, it it wasn't it wasn't the norm to talk about your mental health, or you know what I mean? Like it wasn't acceptable. And then all of a sudden things started to shift where now it's more acceptable. And I think men are feeling a little bit more empowered to stand up and say, look, I've been with this woman and she hits me, or she steals my money, or she's, you know, unfaithful, or all of these things that are considered abusive on some level, you know. And thankfully it's starting to change, but I can see how the attitude from, you know, the older generations, it was just the way it is. There's no excuse, there's no need to excuse it, in my opinion. It's just the way it was. And that's just my opinion about it.
And it
But I'm
was. It
I'm
was
certainly
not
glad things
something,
are changing.
yeah, I mean, it's not something even women, it wasn't something you discussed in our generation, DV or any type of abuse. We didn't discuss it. And if we did try to discuss it, we were told to suck it up, buttercup, and move on.
Right. Beautiful Rose says, I believe he did hold her down and take her phone. Sure, it's not okay, but what happened for that to happen? I have no idea. For all I know, she could have been attacked him. So, well, yeah. And I mean, I'll admit there was a time where my ex held me down as well. He wasn't stopping me from, it was before cell phones, but I probably I don't want to say I deserved it, I needed it, but I mean there was a situation there where he was probably in his, good right to keep me from leaving or doing whatever I was going to do. And I'm not excusing it. I'm not. But we weren't there. We don't know what precipitated that. And it's obviously it's hard to imagine just a phone call could enrage somebody so much to hold her down, take her phone. So you're probably not far off, but again, we weren't there. So um Malaya said he wasn't abusive, told our CMP no domestic violence. Then 7 days later, she said there was. Tinker, that very well could have something to do with um, her feeling of security or lack thereof. And I'm not saying either way, but again, another example is if a child is being abused, they're far more likely to tell somebody once their feeling of safety returns. Like they're not going to tell a lot of times they're not going to tell, say, their mom that their dad or their stepdad is abusing them with their stepdad standing there or dad standing there. Does that make sense? It's their it's their perceived security that gives them, okay, I can tell the truth now. Nothing, he can't get me now or she can't get me now. And I'm not saying that's what this was, but there's always two sides to that. So just my opinion. This is all my opinion.
And
People
I
are gonna
agree
come at me
because
anyway, I don't
you don't
care.
ask somebody who's being abused in front of their abuser, is that man hitting? Perfect example, Gabby Petito. When they got pulled over, she didn't want to say he was abusing her because he was right there. And if you've ever been in an abusive relationship, you know you what you can and can't say.
Mhm.
Because if he's not arrested and she said he's abusive, you're going to pay for that later.
Yeah. Yeah. Gren, this is so we got the index today, which is supposed to be all of the lifted redactions that we will get in the court docs tomorrow. Like I said, we'll go through them, and if there's anything more that wasn't included in that index, we'll definitely clarify it all for everybody. But I think it's pretty safe to say that's probably it.
I have to
And I
agree
just
with
did
that.
it again. I don't mean to yawn, but I'm yawning. Where was I? See, I did it again. I went to go click on um, um, hide the comment, and I did it, and it scrolls all the way to the bottom. So I gotta scroll up. Is what my senior picture, my thingy? No, that wasn't. No, never mind. Never mind. Um, man, I can't. What? Okay. I was gonna stop, but I'm going up because I saw a couple of things. What? What? Ah. Oh, is this where I left off? Probably not. Can they throw you in jail for not? Okay, so in Canada, I don't know where you are, but no, they don't. They can seize your bank accounts, they can take your income tax, they can garnish your wages from your employer, they will immediately take your driver's license away. But I've never heard of a Canadian maintenance order not being paid, ending up in jail time. I'm sure it's there, but I mean, I've never heard of anybody going. going to jail for it. And trust me, there are men out there who go 18 full years because, well, in Alberta, it's 18 years without paying a dime of child support, and they don't have a driver's license, and they get around having employment where their income or where their wages are guaranteed. They'll go contracting and they get around it, but they never pay and they never get arrested.
Yeah, it's common here in the States to be arrested for it.
Yeah, yeah, I know it is, and I see both sides of it, but I don't I don't agree with a lot of how it works. Being
Well, I
somebody on both sides, and my ex had child support that like I was paying for him, and because I didn't write on the bank receipt for child support, maintenance enforcement they would not count that towards his arrears. So, and that was like a full year of making payments to her into her bank account. I had all the bank slips, but I didn't write what it was for, so they wouldn't put it towards his arrears. So I think that's bullshit. But at the same time, if you can't even phone them to make a payment arrangement, then maybe you don't deserve a driver's license. Something needs to kick these guys in the butt or women in the butt just to make even a payment arrangement. If you can't afford it, then go back to court. Just my opinion. Like I said, I've seen both sides of it.
understand both sides of it, but what I never understood was if you put a man in jail or a woman because they're not paying support, how do you expect them to pay support? You can't, they can't work, they're in jail. So I never understood that.
Hmm. And a lot of men too, and this is the last I'll say about it, but their work depends on their driver's license. So it's kind of a, it's a double-edged sword. It doesn't help anything. Beautiful Rose, DM didn't want her hanging around with Cheryl and Haley because they were a bad influence. Where did he hear that from her? I don't know. It would be speculation. I wonder when Daniel will start trying to see his older kids. He has wanted to and tried to, but Christy has shut it down. She doesn't want her children involved in any of this. And I think that makes her a pretty damn good mom.
I agree.
So much of that theory is starting to make sense, though. Family wanting to remove them, dog scent at the road, Malaya leaving and hanging out at the beach, no evidence of other options. Go wait in the car, Ron. Durwood has no supporters here. Um, they, yes, they can here in the U.S. Yes, I've heard. I mean, maybe they can, but they just don't. I've never heard of a case. Daniel did 3-7. Okay, I'll let you answer that. Am I good? Yes, yes, you are. You come up with a like theory on your own and don't attach that name to it, I'll listen. But other than that, go wait in the car. She claims she didn't want Belinda to go there, but then told her friend something else. No comment, just because anything that I know is speculation. And I say I know, it's speculation, so. Um, Durwood was going off Janie's story, seeing Malaya at the roadside and hushing the kids, which she now says never happened, and she denies even telling Durwood that, so. My ex spent 6 months in jail for non-payment of child support. Good, if that's the law. How did that work out, though? Like, how did you get child support while they were busy in jail? You know what I mean? Like, it's a double-edged sword. My opinion. Sub up people. She does a lot of work on these documents. Yes, please. Thank you. You guys hear Harley? He's literally licking his bed, which is like a microfiber, so it's like sandpaper. Hmm. I feel the section that Malaya didn't want known was about her childhood, her own possible CPS, not Meadows, and her dad's past. Yes, I heard about all of that. You betcha. I don't disagree. There's probably a lot of information in there that would be intrusive for the public to know. But I mean, kudos to Daniel for signing off on all of his. He was, Go ahead. He's like, you know, what more harm can it do to my reputation, I think was his way of thinking. The beach pic was photoshopped? Okay. In what way? Beautiful picture. I appreciate that. Thank you. Filters are amazing. Um, Tinker, yes, but he admitted it was because of Janie telling him that, and that's why he came out saying they're all lying because he doesn't believe them anymore. Yes, trouble in paradise. Oh, yes, absolutely. Cheryl has confirmed that it was them at the beach. 100% she has, for sure. Doesn't happen often. Hope you took a screenshot for all the haters. Not you, Nancy. Never. Uh, yeah, like how so? And then by the time I get to your answer, Grant, I'm gonna forget the question. You know it, I know it. Let's just move on. There were some not too pretty issues with Cindy and Henry Brooks. I heard, yeah, yeah. But again, no proof, so I don't really want to dig into it too much. For sure, because people will laugh you away if you let a woman abuse you, so most stay quiet. Mm-hmm. Until you have a girlfriend that says, not on my watch. A fucking chance. People are going to get sued, taken to court. Oh my gosh, Harley, are you okay? He's given his bed a bath. She went straight to jail after I called 911. Didn't even have to file charges. That's right. No. Um, my sister abused my brother-in-law, and I only found out when he called me after I left my ex-husband because of domestic violence. My sister almost got me killed because she was on my ex's side. Wow. Brutal. People shouldn't laugh. Sorry, some women think they can get men because men shouldn't hit back. Right. That's the mentality. That's the mentality. Hey, Charmaine. And all, hey. So open-minded? I try. I wasn't the one that looked like the asshole. Just looked like a raccoon. That's terrible. Thank you, you guys. I appreciate that. I really do. It's hard enough for women to admit for a man they get called terrible names from others. And sometimes they're not even believed, right? So imagine being a man claiming abuse if a woman can't even be believed sometimes. Like it's generational, I think, but I think the tides are turning with that, thankfully. I never told any of my family and drove hours with my two sons who were young and I had nowhere to go. Eventually, we went to a woman's shelter. Brutal. Mike, hey, good to see you. I have a colleague going through a divorce and he had to wrestle her to get his car keys and he wouldn't hurt a flea. People have their moments and she pushed him. That's right. 100%. And that's exactly the kind of situation. And the kicker is she could have called the police and probably had him arrested for that because of the disconnect there. You know, phone is going off. I wonder if I pissed somebody off because it's going off. Her dignity is depends, Tinker. Like, I mean, you can sit here and debate it all day long, but I don't know for sure. But just for example, say there was some kind of terrible assault or something that happened to her. Not by Daniel or anybody else, but something in her past that was part of her statement. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want that out in the public with the fucking vultures and what they do with the information. You have to understand both sides. You know, that's what we're here for. We're here to have open minds and not just think the worst of these people because we weren't there. We don't know what happened. We have our own thoughts and we can speculate respectfully, but I think there was more. There was more. Has DV. A lot of them won't tell you how bad it actually is. Yep.
And it's something I want to say this. It's bad enough when a woman is abused and people say, "Oh, you deserved it," or "You shouldn't have done this," or "You shouldn't have done that." He wouldn't have got mad. And that's the kind of things women go through when they come forward. So it's even harder for a man to say, "Yeah, I've got 100 pounds on her and she gave me a black eye," because he's going to be looked at as weak or whatever. And women think, and not all women, but a lot of times women will think, "Oh, he can't hit me back because I'm a woman. I can get away with it. And if I call the cops and I say he hit me, he's going to be the one going to jail." It just, it's really bad when a man can't come forward and say, "Hey, I'm being abused," without being laughed at or made fun of or called names, because women go through it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel's words show who he really is. For what he's said in the public does paint a picture of the type of person he presents himself as. Absolutely, you can't disagree with that. In order to make it look as if it were an up-to-date photo, it was old pics put together and AI enhanced and made to spread false shit. Except for the
Incorrect.
person that took the picture, Gren has admitted to taking the picture. So I don't know what the motive would be.
Yeah, I mean, she said she took it. So, but I will say, Shar, you've got an echo when I talk. I don't know if it's me or you.
Probably me. I will, I'm going to just quickly scan and scroll. And so,
And I just want to
do you
say,
want do you want
Ben,
to
be
take over
careful.
chat?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you take over chat for a little bit.
So Ben, be careful. I know you said you're gonna leave. So be careful and have a good time. Oh, there she is. I agree with you about that. Let's see. Exactly. It's not an old photo. Cheryl came out and said that she took it and that she was at the beach. I showed the actual conversation the other night, the Snapchat conversation where she said she took her to the beach to get her out of the house for the day. And this was during when her kids were missing. It was confirmed on the Snapchat conversation. Blue Jay says, "I wonder if Malaya Brooks Murray ever said or told anyone that before any time about the abuse." That's something we don't know, right? Like, if she talked to her mom every day or almost every day, and the kids are coming up with multiple black eyes and bruises, and even when she was sitting outside doing the interview, Charmaine and I noticed that there were bruises on her then. How you don't see it and question it, I don't know. Um, my sister, one time, she was switching out shirts and her back was all bruised up. And I mean, I called my mom and we knew because we were seeing her and we knew she was having issues. And let's just say that didn't end well for the guy that was in the house. But um, it's really bad when a man can't come forward. And even women, like I said. The beach photo is not old. Okay, can we get off the beach photo, please, guys? It's old news. We've covered it. No biggie. It was from July, I believe. Marie, it was stated in the news release about her dignity. We will be going over, I think, the news article. I sent it to Charmaine. I think that's what we're going to go over next. Ernestine said, "If you don't want to hear about severe DV and coercive control, Oh, if you want to hear about severe DV and coercive control, watch CTV Sunday night. Lisa Banfield, Gabriel Wortman's former partner, is speaking out and sharing her story of 19 years. That would be interesting to watch. CTV this Sunday, Ernestine. I might have to see if I can't maybe connect with them on YouTube or something and watch that. It was systematic and still is. Yeah, a lot of abuse is, it starts off small of, I don't want you hanging out with that person, I don't want you talking to that person for whatever reason, and it gets worse. And a lot of times the abuser will isolate you. That's part of it. It is very systematic. Yes, we need to change the narrative and fight the stigma. Men are victims too. Exactly, Sailor. They are. And I wish more men would speak up. I understand why they don't, but I wish that they would. Damn, Grendel. It was a new pic. The convo of Cheryl being called out the second she posted it was all confirmed, and it was taken the day it was shared. It was, like I said, I don't know if Char wants me to share that and go over that Snapchat. That's up to her. I do have it if she wants to. Was isolated and seems to be monitored at all times by Daniel Martell and Jenny. That's a good point. Janie said that Malaya would have to take him to work and then take him his lunch and go back and get him. And she had use of the car. All she had to do was ask. Am I saying that she was completely isolated? No, because she was able to talk to her family. But again, you're not going to say you're being abused if your abuser is right there. Because if something doesn't happen, you know what's to come, and you know not to talk. You get trained is not the right word, but you know what'll happen. And I lived it. I can speak on it from personal experience. I left my husband when he pulled a pew-pew and put it to my head. Like, I understand, but again, you don't say it when somebody is standing right there, especially that person. That's why they get separated, or children are removed from the parents and then talked to, and the parents aren't in the room due to they feel safer to tell the truth at that point. C Legal says, in fairness, Shar, the new ideals, RE millennials, are a bit overboard. Books written about it, trauma, a relationship ending, a move, a job rejection, cutting off parents, and no accountability taken.
I agree. 100% C Legal. Yep.
So do you want to take over, or you still want me to go on?
No, you're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. I just wanted to answer to that because C Legal was reading my mind. I didn't say it was okay, but it is totally overboard in my opinion. But go ahead.
So they've been saying about the Snapchat beach pic. Like I said, I have that conversation. Do you want me to put it up? If you do, I'll put it up. I have it. All that.
No, let's just stick to the plan. We'll get through chat and then we'll hit the articles. So we did a live stream on the beach pic. If it's that interesting to you, go back and watch that one, okay?
We talked about it. So I don't think in MS they put you in jail. What's MS? For child support. Our girls are overrun as it is, and it costs the government $100,000 per year per person. They can revoke your license, and they will garnish your wages. Yeah, in the United States, they will revoke your license, throw you in jail. If you win the lottery, any type of lottery winning where you actually have to go pick it up, they'll take it. They'll take taxes. They'll do all kinds of things to attempt to get that support. But again, I've never understood personally throwing somebody in jail for it. If they're in jail, they can't work. If they can't work, they can't pay it. So it seems a little counterproductive to me. But whatever. It's a law. Exactly, Shar. Does not happen in Canada. Many things they can do, but Shar is right. It is Family Responsibility Office in Ontario. Here's just not paying child support is why Wade does not work or have a driver's license, and his daughter is now 18. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how it is in Canada, but here, even if you owe back support after they turn 18, you still have to pay it or face the consequences of not paying it. Marie said, yes, Tinker, my meaning is beyond the news. Talking about Malia's dignity, laughing out loud, but would take way too long to explain. Cindy says, and if it's through maintenance enforcement, they will hold that balance until it's brought to a zero. They don't get off on it just because the kids turn 18, and that's how it is here. Now, I'm assuming, I've heard Charmaine say it, and I've heard a couple other people from Canada say it. So maintenance enforcement, that is your guys' version of either a prosecutor or child support division. I'm taking it.
Maintenance enforcement is who, I don't want to say governs the child support and spousal support, but it's called Child and Family Maintenance Enforcement. So if you get a child support order, it's not between the mom and dad. It's between the dad and maintenance enforcement and the mom or whoever's required to pay. There's no, they're the middleman, basically. You pay maintenance enforcement, and maintenance enforcement pays that, um, the the payee.
Okay,
So
so see,
they're literally the middleman.
we have our middleman. It's not maintenance enforcement, it's a child support division. So all of our courts and all of our like prosecutor's office and all that, they have prosecutors specifically for child support. And then in our courts, it's a child support division that we go to. So Colleen says in Louisville, Kentucky, they will put you in jail. Yes, they will. You're not far from me if you're in Louisville, Kentucky. You are not far from me at all. Work under the table. Yes, a lot of people who owe child support will work under the table, and they'll work under the table for several reasons. One, you don't have to pay taxes on it. Two, nobody knows unless somebody tells on you that you're doing it. So, yeah, a lot of people will just work under the table and get paid under the table. They won't throw you in jail here for not paying child support. My ex was $37,000 behind, and all they did was took his license and he drove away. Well, I would have said, well, he doesn't have a license, so why is he driving, and had him arrested. I would have been a you know what about it. Just looking it up, and you can go to jail for non-support, but it's the very last resort, very last. I would think it would be because, like I said several times, if you're in jail, how are you supposed to pay it? A lot of times, I know in Indiana, they will put them, instead of putting them in the actual jail, they'll put them in what we call a work release, which is jail, and essentially it's ran by the jail officers. And what we did is they went to work at a certain time. We knew they were at work. They could only work certain spots. And then when they got back, they got searched and then put back in. It was like a dormitory, sort of. We had, I think we had 12 beds in it. The men and women, of course, are separated, but we have, it's called work release, where they're in jail, but they're allowed to go to work, kind of like a day pass, sort of. And most separation agreements state that you need to show your income tax for that year to show your income so that that child or spousal support could be increased. Yeah. Like we have to do all kinds of things here too. You have to show pay stubs and stuff. And then if it's like too high, you can petition the court for a modification on it. And sometimes they lower it, and sometimes they tell you to get a second job. Exactly. You can't take money from a rock. That's what I'm getting at. Yep. What is the other channel? Can somebody post my
It was
Murray got it.
posted. Yeah.
He isolated her so he could manipulate her. It's very common in controlling partners to do that. They make you ditch your friends and family. Exactly. And that's what I was saying earlier. They will, well, I don't like you talking to that person, or I don't like the way that person looks at you, so just don't talk to them anymore. And then the people that you're not allowed to talk to, that list grows and grows and grows until finally you have nobody but them. And they condition you to that because they can't do it all at once. And moving in 2 weeks after you've known somebody, you don't even know somebody really. I told my niece, she just started dating. And I told her, I said, go by the 6-month rule. By the end, most people can only cover their true colors for so long, right? So if in 6 months he is still the same person, then that's good. But start paying close attention. If you've got red flags in that first 6 months, then it's not a relationship you should be in, because people will only cover up and not show their true colors for so long. And that's approximately 6 months based on studies that they've done and statistics. You want me to keep going, or do you have something to say? I don't want to take over your live.
No, it's our live, but I'm gonna address one thing I've kind of gone through. If you guys, if I miss your comment, then just repost it. We'll get to it. But I want to move on with the articles. Um, but I want to address this. You know what stands out to me? All Daniel's family and friends are standing behind him. Your own family knows you better than anyone. The whole Martells and Mackenzies can't all be narcissists. That's true. Um, but it's a there are people in these families who are just like you and I. They're watching from the outside looking in. They don't know what to think. They are shocked. They're heartbroken. They're having a hard time uh, processing everything that comes out about their family member, and lumping them, and just like your family, just like my family. Not everybody is like me. Not everybody agrees with the things I do. And I certainly have family members who I don't relate to at all. So, I mean, there's no realm of reality that you can say anything about all of the Martells or all of the Mackenzies or all of the Murrays or all of the Brooks. You can't pigeonhole a family like that, because we're all individuals, and I do know that there are some people in these families that are sitting back just not even knowing what to think or what went wrong, or because no matter what, like the kids went through it, right? So there's a whole family out there that we haven't even heard from. They just don't even know what to think. They're just like us. So I wanted to hit on that really quickly. Do you mind if we move on to the docs? Or not the docs, the article? There is a video.
So,
Hold
Charmaine,
it.
I want to respond to that real quick.
Okay.
I didn't see, I'm way behind, so I didn't see that full comment. I'm skipping everybody and going to the bottom here. Um, yes, you can't say all of them are narcissists. However, if somebody in your family did something, say your cousin, right? And you don't know for sure that they did an illegal thing, but you think they did, you can still back your family. There are a lot of SKs out there that their family backs them 100%. They couldn't have done it. They wouldn't have done it. It's not like them. Everybody has a point that they will snap, and everybody's snapping point is different. And it's in a different timeline, and it's based on them. Yes, maybe they don't know what happened, but because they know Daniel, or think they know Daniel when he's the good guy, they could still back him, but still disagree with his actions. Does you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Uh, Hey Joe, Neil, and Starchild, and everybody that came in. That's awesome to see you. Thank you for being here. Again, with the new people, please go sub up to American Justice's channel. We are trying desperately to get her to 500 subs. It is a new goal. She's almost there, so no reason why we can't help her out. She puts a ton of time and energy and thought into building the document for us and keeping it up to date, so she deserves our subscriptions. Now,
And it's free to do so, y'all.
yeah, it's absolutely free. It's one thing in life that's free. Why isn't this working? Oh, wait.
Do I
Yeah.
need to remove here? Let me remove that. Did that help?
Yes. Way to go, Melissa. I'm just kidding. All right. So I'm going to click on this. I have not clicked on it yet, but it looks to me like it's 2 minutes and 31 seconds. So we're going to watch this and then we'll read the article. Okay. I'm going to mute, turn my camera off, and go. If you can't hear it, let me know. I'll be watching chat.
Newly released court. My business has grown to this point, and I have too. Now we need financing to diversify, grow, automate, and once we do all that, BDC and I will get ready for what's next. Documents in the case of missing children Lilly and Jack Sullivan provide a closer look at the relationship between their mother and stepfather. The latest details come from lifted redactions CBC and other media outlets have been fighting for in the case. The documents include an affidavit filed by RCMP that explains the investigation to date. Malaya Brooks Murray and her boyfriend Daniel Martel were together for about 3 years before Jack and Lilly disappeared on May 2nd. All of them lived in the Lansdowne trailer where the children were last seen. According to the documents, Martel told police they'd been fighting about money. His mother also referenced financial difficulties. The new records disclosed that in an RCMP interview, Brooks Murray said Martel would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Martel provides a different account. He told police their relationship was good and they had ups and downs like any other couple. He said they would yell at each other when they were fighting, but there was no physical violence in their relationship. RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon confirmed the nature of their relationship at the time of the children's disappearance is part of the investigation. Are any of the children's family members considered suspects in this case?
I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. Again, we continue to gather information and whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that. But we are not in a position to really comment on suspects or anything like that at this time.
The case is still being investigated under the Missing Persons Act and has not moved to a criminal investigation. But in new submissions, the Crown noted that while there is currently no reasonable grounds to believe a crime has taken place, it could become criminal.
When they state that there are no reasonable grounds for a criminal offense, uh, what that really says to me is that there's currently not enough evidence to make an arrest for a crime, but a crime is not obviously being ruled out. It's a very important linguistic distinction.
The documents also say RCMP are using technology-based investigative techniques which may provide information to support criminality and help find Lilly and Jack. Angela McIver, CBC News, Halifax.
So I know Melissa was echoing. That was my bad because when my microphone isn't muted, when she's talking, it obviously comes through my mic. So I'm trying to remember to mute myself. So that's my bad. That's not on Melissa. That's on me. And just real quick, Ron, no, I haven't seen a ghost, but I did get a message and I was reading it and it was like somebody asked me if I clicked a link and somebody could have got my IP address. So I guess a little bit of a scare there, but I think it's okay. Not really worried about it, but it is what it is. Animal keeper, good to see you. Um, Yeah. Watching you.
So Charmaine,
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
so oh, the echo.
The echo.
Finances are
Finances
a
are
common
one
reason and
and
a
a
common
common
excuse in
in
relationships
relationship
where there's
where there's
DV.
DV.
That is
That
one
is
of the
one of the
reasons if
reasons
you
if you
look into
look into
DV and you
DV
do
and
any
you do any
studies on it,
studies
that
on it,
is a
that is
very
very
common,
um,
can't think of the
can't
word
think
I
of the
want to
word I
use,
want
but
to use, but
reason
reason
for it.
for it.
And you've
And
got
you've got
Daniel
Daniel
and
and
Janie and
Janie and
Malaya and all
Malaya
of
and
them in
all
the
of them
court
in the
documents
documents
saying
saying
that there were
there were
financial issues.
financial issues.
So
So
could that
could that
be,
be
along with the
along with the
stress of
stress of
raising
raising
3
3
kids under
kids under
6,
6,
which is
which
another
is another
stress,
stress
for the
for the
DV?
DV?
I'm not
I'm
saying
not
it's
saying
an
it's an
excuse by
excuse
any
by any
means,
means,
but it is
but
a
it
very
is a very common
reason.
reason.
Echo is worse now. I literally had my microphone muted that entire time. Was she muting really bad? Or not muting. Man, was she echoing really bad? Because I don't know what's going on if she was. It looks like something really bad is happening, Melissa. I apologize, guys. Um, Try to clear up rumors. Logan only questioned about getting temporary custody of Meadow, not full custody. It was to keep her out of CPS. So that was when. So I don't know if everybody remembers, but when Durwood came on Sunny's Live with us the first time, or it might have been the second time, can't remember. But anyways, he said Malaya's on the run. She got spooked and picked up the baby and ran away, and CPS took Meadow. We've since, I guess, not really learned the truth of that matter, but the truth is that Meadow was taken away. And at the very beginning, we did hear that Logan was going for custody of Meadow, and since have found out that it was simply a question. It was an option that they were weighing to try to keep Meadow out of CPS custody, and nothing was ever done with it. So, to my understanding, Logan didn't even go and apply for it. It's so nice to see you. Like I'm glad you're here. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right. Whoa, whoa, what? Was it because whatever? Okay.
I think it was
I think
because
it
of
was
the
because of
echo.
the echo.
Okay. Okay, I think we should be good. So I'm just gonna. Do you want to take turns reading this, or do you want me to do the whole thing? We can listen to it. Let's just listen to it. How'd that be? You mute, I'll mute, and we'll just listen to it. Okay?
Sounds good to
Sounds
me.
good
See
to
if
me.
it's from, yeah.
Court documents shed light on relationship of mother, stepfather of missing NS children. Lilly, 6, and Jack, 5, went missing from Lansdowne, NS, in May 2025. Ali Thompson, Angela McIvor, CBC News, posted, January 15, 2026, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Newly released court documents in the case of Jack and Lilly Sullivan offer more details on the relationship between their mother and stepfather leading up to the children's disappearance more than 8 months ago. Lilly, 6, and Jack, 5, have been missing since May 2, 2025, when their mother Malihia Brooks Murray called 911 to report they had wandered away from their home in Lansdowne, NS, a sparsely populated area about 140 kilometers northeast of Halifax. Their disappearance sparked an extensive grid search of the thick woods surrounding their rural home that turned up little evidence apart from a pink blanket and child-size boot print. Over the past 8 months, authorities have brought in cadaver dogs, conducted 75 interviews and several polygraph examinations, reviewed 1,066 tips and 8,000 video files, and have assigned RCMP units from multiple provinces to investigate the case. At the time of their disappearance, the children were living with Brooks Murray, their stepfather, Daniel Martel, and the couple's baby daughter. The family, including Lily and Jack, were last seen in public the day before the two children were reported missing. Watch closer look at relationship between mother, stepfather. As part of the case, police sought 12 search warrants between May 16, 2025 and July 16, 2025. More details of those applications for warrants are laid out in court records that were obtained by CBC News and the Globe and Mail this week. In those court documents, there are details of an interview conducted by police with Brooks Murray. She discusses her relationship with Martel, saying she moved in with him on his mother's property in Lansdowne around August 2023. Brooks Murray was asked if Martel was ever physically abusive. Malihia said he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her, the document said. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Meanwhile, Martel told investigators they had recently been fighting about money, but otherwise their relationship was good. They have ups and downs like any couple, the document said, recounting what Martel told police during an interview. He said they would yell at each other when they were fighting, but there was no physical violence in their relationship. The documents also suggest that Lily and Jack's biological father, Cody Sullivan, had not seen the children in a few years, but was paying child support up until he lost his job 9 months before their disappearance. RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McCommon confirmed the nature of the relationship between Brooks Murray and Martel at the time of the disappearance as part of the investigation. I'm not going to comment on anything being a factor, but I will say that any situation like that would be considered and followed up on by our people, said McCommon in an interview. When asked if any of the children's family members are considered suspects in this case, McCommon said there are no suspects he can identify at this time. I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. Again, we continue to gather information, whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that, said McCommon, the officer in charge of major crime and behavioral sciences. The disappearance is still being investigated under the Provincial Missing Persons Act and has not moved to a criminal investigation, according to RCMP. The mysterious nature of Jack and Lily's disappearance and lack of answers in the case has fueled widespread speculation online amid international media attention. In submissions filed recently with the court as part of the CBC's application to access records, the Crown noted that although there is currently no reasonable grounds to believe a crime has taken place, as the investigation persists, it could become criminal, and persons of interest in the disappearance of the children might be identified. The submissions also included an affidavit filed by the RCMP, noting police are leveraging technology-based investigative techniques which may provide information to support criminality and uncover the whereabouts of the missing children. McCommon said those techniques include the use of sophisticated drones and video review programs. Michael Arntfield, a former police detective and professor at Western University in London, Ontario, said the Crown is choosing its words carefully in its submissions. When they state that there are no reasonable grounds for a criminal offense, what that really says to me is that there is currently not enough evidence to make an arrest for a crime, but a crime is not obviously being ruled out, said Arntfield in a recent interview. It's a very important linguistic distinction. Arntfield said he's surprised the investigation has not turned criminal. In his experience, missing persons cases are generally deemed suspicious if they are not found after about a week. Investigators are still sort of pussyfooting around whether or not foul play is involved and whether this should be a strictly criminal investigation, he said. I don't have all the facts, but I will just say, it is novel in terms of these types of investigations, particularly dealing with two children. McCommon said once investigators have gathered all the necessary information, we'll make decisions on any criminality that may be relevant to the case. More top stories.
So it's kind of interesting to me that they're talking about they could move into criminal charges if, they haven't, it's clear that they haven't cleared anyone. Right? Are you there, Melissa?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I suspect Cowtown might be Calgarian. Just just saying. Yeah. I think to me that's better than listening to me read it. My own personal opinion. Um, does anybody have anything they want to add about that? She said he would likely also take, or he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Um, and we talked about that not being any kind of charge in and of itself outside of domestic abuse, domestic violence. Um, what else did he say? I'm not going to comment on anything being a factor, but I will say that any situation like that would be considered and followed up on by our people. Um, and that's, um, obviously, they're still holding everything way too, well, I can't say way too tight to the vest, but I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. And
Well, they
Well, they
can't say
can't say
anybody's a
anybody's a
suspect.
suspect.
yeah, that's true. They can't, he's not saying that they don't have any suspects, but he's not willing to say anybody is a suspect. And it's tricky. It's tricky the way they word things sometimes. Or we could take it at face value. I wouldn't say anybody is a suspect. So again, we continue to gather information, whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that. That I mean that definitely doesn't say that they've cleared anybody. Am I wrong?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think
I
so. I
think
think
they just
they
can't
just can't
say so
say
and
so
so's a
and so's a
suspect.
suspect.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna
refresh and
refresh
see
and
if
see
that
if
helps
that
the
helps
echo.
the echo.
Okay. Um, Disappearance is still being investigated under the Provincial Missing Persons Act and has not moved to criminal investigation, according to the RCMP. The mysterious nature. Well, and I think that that also kind of, in my opinion, it goes hand in hand with they're not willing to say anybody's a suspect. If they had a suspect, that would be moving it into a criminal investigation, and that I mean, all this tells me is clearly they're just not there yet. You know, because he says, as the investigation persists, it could become criminal and persons of interest in the disappearance of the children might be identified. So this leads me to believe that they're, you know, persons of interest haven't even been decided on. But that doesn't mean that they're not looking at it. That's just the way I'm seeing it. And when they state there are no reasonable grounds for a criminal offense, what that really says to me is there's currently not enough evidence to make an arrest for a crime, but a crime is not obviously being ruled out. And like I said, the only way that a crime at this point, 8.5 months in, hasn't been committed, is if the children wandered off and they're still in the woods. And they wandered off on their own volition and they're still out there somewhere, just haven't been found yet, right? Because otherwise, no matter what the crime is, they're not here. So if a person is involved in keeping the kids hidden and not reporting it to the RCMP, that's a crime. Whether the kids are alive and well or not, it's a crime, right? And it doesn't matter if it's Malaya herself at this point. It's still it has to be some kind of a crime, I would think. Um, uh, so Arnfield said that he's surprised the investigation has not turned criminal. In his experience, missing persons cases are generally deemed suspicious if they are not found after about a week. Investigators are still sort of pussyfooting around whether or not foul play is involved and whether this should be a strictly criminal investigation. I don't have all the facts, but I will just say it is novel in terms of these types of investigations, particularly dealing with two children. And that says a lot to me. Like this is a little bit bizarre at the end of it all. Yeah, so I think I starred a couple of things. Did Daniel try to say at one point that Malaya was starting to be violent with him near the end of the relationship? He did. He did say that. But I mean, if you would think, and I'm not saying that he was lying or making it up, but I'm just saying that he signed off on most things in these documents, like his redactions being lifted. He consented. So why isn't it in the documents then? If they were telling the whole truth, then that should have been in the documents, I would think. I don't know. Can coercive control happen with a lawyer and client asking for a friend? I know you know. If you know, you know. Um, I think coercive control can happen in any relationship, whether professional or personal. That's my opinion. Thanks for asking. Should Daniel get arrested, does anyone think that Janie will fall on her sword for him, or in other words, take the rap for him? I don't think Janie would. Um, and I truly hope that there isn't a rush to charge anybody with anything. They've got to make sure the charges are valid and will stick, will hold up to a prosecution. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've heard many times from them that they've got one shot at this, right? They have to get it right. So if that's going to take time, and let's never forget that Jack and Lily still aren't found. They're still not located. So that I have to think that that plays a big part. Oh, Harley, you're fine. Um,
How
so
common,
sorry. Go ahead.
how common is it that there's a no body case in Nova Scotia? And I don't know what's going on with the sicko.
No body prosecutions in Canada are extraordinarily rare. I don't, off the top of my head, I can't think of one, but I know that there have been a couple recently in the United States, but I mean, it has to be based on forensics, which we know there wasn't. How do you say that with the YouTube lingo? But there's not enough. There was no forensics basically to prove that there was foul play. But to have a no body prosecution, the amount of forensic evidence would have to be substantial. And then they would have to have, usually with no body prosecutions, they'll have something um, like months on end of no proof of life, like no bank accounts or anything being accessed to support life, right? Which can be done, obviously, but they have to have all of these circumstantial. Sorry, he's distracting me. Harley is distracting me. He's groaning, he's cleaning his bed, he's doing all his shit. But, anyways, there has to be so much circumstantial evidence to support a no body prosecution. But like I said, I can't think of one from Canada. And here we go with Harley again. He's got the worst timing. Yeah. He's addicted to squeaky toys and he loves the squeaky page. He's so smart. Man, I wish Melissa was here. She could take over while Harley was getting this out of his system. When she gets here, I'll put him outside. He probably just wants to go outside.
I'm here. I'm
here.
just trying to figure out this echo.
Okay. You go ahead. I'm going to put him out.
Okay. See, there's still an echo with her muted. Hold on. Let me see here, guys. Let me check different. Can you guys still? Yep, there's still an echo. Let's see. Does the echo? No. Can you guys hear me? Oh, still an echo. So I'm not on with it. I have something open. I don't know what to do.
You're still echoing? Harley's outside, so.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is completely leave, close everything out, and then I'll be back.
Okay, sounds good. I will try to hold the fort until you get back. Let me just go back up a little bit in chat, see if I can hit some stuff. There's Cowtown, so Sarah wants to know from Tinkerbell how she knows so much. Like, how would you know about Daniel and Malaya's personal habits, like her taking him lunch? Tinker is not family, but I do know that she has contact, so. And I'm not saying contact with who. If they were so unhappy together, why did they not want her to leave? I think Daniel was perfectly happy. What do you mean, Karen? I mean, it sounds to me like Daniel was perfectly happy. Maybe I'm wrong, but for any interested parties, Charlie Kirk, the assassin, I guess, is in court tomorrow.
Do I still have an echo?
Unsure. Is it normal to have RCMP officers from multiple provinces on a case? Well, it depends. Like, if they have tips from other provinces, absolutely. For sure. I think that would be perfectly normal. Leilani Simon appealed about a week ago, really? Yeah, well, she can rot. Even if they find bodies, the bodies could have passed by natural means, right? And unfortunately, there are a lot of cases where remains are found and they're ruled to be, their manner of death is ruled to be undetermined because there's no sign of foul play, meaning that there would be, like broken bones. But if there's no flesh there to show a wound or anything, it's really hard to prove. And like lungs with water in them, stuff like that. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get too graphic, but it would be really hard to prove manner of death if remains are found completely decomposed. Man, that's a lot of grim, dark talk for a YouTube channel. You kind of have to read between the lines with the RCMP. You absolutely do. 100%. That's why I want to see the document so bad because the media, they pick what they think is important, but there's usually so much more in them. But because we have gone over these documents, I think with a fine-tooth comb, as long as that index accurately reflects the lifted redactions, I don't think that there's a whole lot more to glean from what we saw today. Not that we won't look at it and maybe find some stuff, but do you think if Melissa went out and, well, she's working on that, Belinda, thank you. Tyler Robinson, yeah. 8 months ruling out every possibility of abduction and no evidence of kids in the woods. It all comes back to that trailer, in your opinion. Thanks for being here, Kim Mitchell. I agree with you. They have people from all over the world working on this behind the scenes, right? Depending on the resources they're using, depending on the tips they're getting. Absolutely. You're not wrong. I'm one of those that thinks the kids are out there somewhere just not found. And I mean, as is your right to do that. She's improving. Okay. I'm glad to hear it. This will be a no body case, so will take time, but there will be justice. I agree with you. I think, but I still hold out hope that they're going to be found. Somebody mentioned about other police officers from other province is working on it, but they have worldwide professionals in different areas working on this. Yeah. Yes, she is working on her echo. I think the articles today speaks volumes for sure, and the third time reading them really spoke to me. And this is my first time listening to it. I will read it, and I'll probably listen to it a couple more times, and definitely, yeah. Captain Injustice, good to see you.
So, am I still echoing?
Can't tell you how I know it for a fact, though. Sorry. It's all good, though. I believe you. Speak and see if you're being echoed.
Okay, is it still echoing, guys? Yes. Okay, since it's echoing and it's really bad, I'm gonna hop down and just be in chat because I cannot figure it out. I've tried every different mic.
Okay. I'm gonna finish up with chat and then I'll probably end it real soon anyways. We're almost at 2 hours, so um yeah. So thanks, Melissa. We will we'll figure out your sound for next time. But Melissa will be in chat. And Melissa can spam her channel in chat. Are you leaving? Whatever. I'm gonna continue and you go when you need to go. And hey, trail hiker. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's strange for sure. Um, and that's weird because I was muted too the whole time. We know. His assassin is in court tomorrow. Echoing still, gotcha. It's never just one person who is unhappy in a relationship. They were both unhappy. I think they were just fighting about custody of their shared child. I don't think that's accurate because Daniel has told us all many times that Malaya felt the safest with him, um, that he was blindsided by her leaving. These documents clearly say that they had a good relationship and they had problems like every other relationship. It seems to me like he was happy. However, I do know that he knew that Malaya was planning on leaving him. So, yeah. What else? The one case that haunts me is Nicole Moran from Etobicoke, uh, Ontario in 1985. I hope it's solved in my lifetime, but with no cameras during that time, I doubt it. A poof goes the kid case. Really? I should write that down. I'm gonna write that down because I don't know that one. Nicole Moran, 85, which is weird. I wonder why I've never heard of that one. Maybe I have and I've just forgotten about it. Yeah, we'll have to troubleshoot sometime. Mm, yeah, and sometimes like if you had, it's possible that one of your tabs could have had the live open somewhere. So your microphone would be picking you up and whatever live your computer was picking up. Weird. Hey, Joe Hunter, how's it going? Daphne does not have them. Nobody has them. I believe they're not available to the public until tomorrow morning. That's when we can apply to get them. That's not saying that a source won't won't supply them sometime tonight, but as of right now, nobody in the public has them. We have the index. Oh, Harley is just a menace today. They can't be charging people with murder and then having them show up some days. So as Shar says, there needs to be some conclusive, yeah. They have to have a really strong circumstantial case before they'll move forward without remains. You don't agree with what? I've been agreeing with you this whole time and you have the audacity to disagree with me? Ron, Mexico. I believe they have enough evidence. They don't need to worry about what they lost from not securing. They just want enough to take more than one in my opinion. Clean swipe. Maybe. And deafening silence. Do we know that the children definitely made it home that day? Well, no. I mean, there's who told us that they were there Thursday night and Friday morning? Daniel, Malaya, and Janie. Nobody from the outside has claimed to have seen them. So, can we confirm that? Well, no. Unless you. Oh my gosh, Harley's killing me today. He's just the worst. What is going on? He's usually so good. But anyways, no, we can't confirm that. I wish we could. Victims' remains. Rita Jordan's body was never fully recovered. Um, Scattered her ashes in a lake on the eastern shore of Nova Scotia after multiple attempts to burn her remains. Brutal. Melissa, thank you for coming up. That's why we're all here, because deep down, I think we already know if found in bad way, later where's proof of who, what, and how will be lost. Could be. Yes, please go over and sub to Melissa. She works hard on this case, you guys. Yes, everybody's saying thank you, Melissa. Daniel ripped a piece of a blanket off when he put it up. Holy smokes, up in the tree. Yeah, I don't know. He's from here. Scattered parts of her in our lake. Oh, okay. I'm gonna look into that for sure. Interesting. Yes, she lived in Amherst, Nova Scotia before she moved there. Y'all know about this one, hey? Wow. 7 years. In Canada, 7 years. I was looking at Daniel's photos of Meadow, and she looks absolutely 100 times healthier than she did, that's for sure. She does. Who was on with Charmaine? I don't like her. Charmaine is awesome, though. Do you want to get out of here, troll, or should I boot you myself? We thank you very much for your clarity and all your hard work. Yes, Melissa, thank you so much. Thank Melissa by giving her a sub. Yes, he's lonely, I guess. I don't know. He can sit here and ignore me all day long, clean his bed, and then as soon as I go live, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Do not kick or mute, Dino. Okay. Um, I think I read that one. I don't know why I started. Probably so I could come back. All right. So you guys, there's not a whole lot more to say, I think, today. I think we've covered a lot of ground. We are going to post that index on our pages or on our community pages, okay? So if you want a copy of it, it'll be PDF. Go and download a copy and have a good look at it yourself. You can, the documents that we got, you can compare them to make sure that they're, that you're comfortable with those lifted redactions. And tomorrow when we get the actual documents, we'll double check and triple check and make sure everything is covered. And other than that, if there's nothing else, I am going to say goodbye and thank you, Melissa. Go sub to Melissa, 100%. I appreciate. What happened here today? This one. Oh, Blue Jay, member for 2 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate my members. All right, everybody have a, what day is it today? Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. Nope, Thursday. It's whatever. Anyways, have a great evening. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.